Hello everyone, welcome to the lecture on tenses. I'm not very sure whether do you like this topic or not, but because most of the people who are into learning grammar, they kind of not like tenses because this happens to be one of the topics which gives us a lot of tension, yes. But just to master the language, it is very important for us to know as to how do we divide time. How do we use the division of time? And with that kind of thought, I have tried to make this video on tenses so that it is interesting for you and also it is equally easy for you to understand. Let's go ahead. So the word tenses has been derived from a Latin word which is tempus, and this tempus means time. Therefore, we say that the word tenses has to do everything with the time that is gone by, the time that is there right now, and the time that will be. So, combining all these three forms of something that was, something that is, and something that will be is called as tense. So here, or you may also, not going by the etymology, by the root, by the origin of the word, if I just have to explain in the simplest of the ways as to what are tenses, then these are the form taken by a verb to show the time of an action or the state of an event. Now we're talking of two things here. One is the verb. Verb means it has to be an action. Now the other thing that we're talking of is the time or the state. So whatever action is there, rather, and whatever time zone it be in. For example, if I'm taking an action, for example, now if you can see the slide, there is a spoiler of a very well known and kind of interesting TV series, which is Vampire Diaries. Now I've tried to depict the past, the present, and the future in this particular picture. For those of you who can relate, you'll be able to know that if I'm talking of uh, Kylie, or if I'm talking of Caroline, then what is their past, what they were, what then if I'm watching a particular season of the series, then what are these and who are these, and then finally going ahead to the finale. Exactly, we're moving from one time in the past to present and then the future. So therefore, this time is nothing but putting the action, the verb, the event that is happening or occurring into zones which will give you a kind of a story of a certain thing. Everything that exists has a certain kind of a past. From where is that past originating? From the present. Whatever you do in your present becomes the past, and whatever you plan in your present becomes the future most of the times. Yes, of course, I do agree that plans most of the times do not work out as the way they should, as the way they're desired to, but yes, still, that planning that you're doing in the present becomes the future. So here, present tense. In the real life also, present tense happens to be the most important, from where we are deriving the future and we are creating the past. So here we'll be trying to focus on all the three time zones: the past, the actions that have been done, the present, the actions that are being done, and that action that will be done. And then we'll try to relate to each and every of these three categories. If I talk of the classification of tenses, tenses are based on two things. One, the time frame. Time frame, as I said, that on the basis of time, you can have tenses, you can have three categories to tenses: the present tense, right now, the past tense, that was, and future, that will be. So here, present tense will express an unchanging, repeated, or recurring action or situation that exists only now. The point that you're talking about it, that point in time, that action is on. It can also present a widespread truth. So whenever you need to talk about a universal truth, about a certain fact that has been established with the same kind of a meaning throughout the globe, across the globe, in that case, that particular thing can also be treated and taken in the present tense. For example, again, I have tried to take all the examples from the characters based on the series Vampire Diaries, so that maybe it is interesting for the few who like Vampire Diaries, and it would be very intriguing for the others to know. As and when we move ahead into the slides and the video, the people who are not a VD fan, or maybe the people who have never watched VD, maybe they get their interest aroused, right? Okay, so the first example for the present tense is Elena is friends with Stefan and Damon. So I am talking of a time when Elena is friends with both Stefan and Damon. There are only a few of the times, yes, but then I'm talking of that particular time when she's friends with both. That is that time when she's friends with both. We are referring to that time using the word is. So is will be used to represent an action that is happening in present. Likewise, for the past tense, it expresses an action or situation that was started and finished in the past. There is something that started in the past is past tense. That activity will be quoted and put in past tense. Elena loved Stefan. Now, of the two people that she's right now friends with, in the past, she loved one of these people. Like for instance, she loved Stefan. And future, it expresses an action or situation that will occur in the future. Will season 9 of the series Vampire Diaries be aired? So we are done, I guess, with the season 8 of Vampire Diaries. It is done, right? But then it's just a speculation, because you're speculating and the things are not there right now in present. So therefore, these things might occur in future, in the times to come. So this particular thing will tell you such kind of an event or action that is yet to take place is the future tense. So when it comes to representing something in the present tense, we may use the word is, the verb. Past tense, we either may use the second form, or we may have the words like was or were, and for future it will be the usage of will or shall. The next categorization of tenses is based on aspect. Aspect is something that refers to the nature of the action that is taking place, which is described by a verb. It shows continuity or completeness of the action and time. What is this? What does it mean? It shows continuity and completeness. For example, if I say that I took the examples derived from the famous Harry Potter series when I tried to explain SVA, means I am talking of an action that is now over. It is now complete. So it is telling, the moment I say I took the examples, I derived the examples, so that second form of verb that I'm using, it shows that the action is complete. If I say that I am taking the examples derived from the famous Vampire Diaries, would mean that yes, I am talking in present. I am taking. The action is still on. It is continuous in the time in which I'm talking about it. And then if I say that for the forthcoming topics, suppose that topic be any, if I say that the examples of that topic will be based on, say, the prison break, or it could be, yes, based on Mirzapur. So here I am talking of an action that is yet to take place. So aspect would mean the way in which you're defining as to whether the action is complete or is it continuing, whether is it definite, whether am I disclosing the time, exact time and the action took place, is taking place or will take place. All these kind of things will be termed as aspect, and on the basis of aspect, tenses may be categorized as 4 types. Indefinite or simple tense, which does not indicate whether the action is complete or not. For example, Bonnie Bennett is a powerful witch. Now it is just a random statement. It is that there's a person named as Bonnie Bennett, and she's a powerful witch. So here I am just not defining as to what time am I talking about, whether during that time the action is complete or not. It is just a random statement. It is not giving you a definite information about the completion of the task. Therefore, such actions that do not tell you about the completeness are termed as indefinite or simple. The second aspect based tense is the continuous tense. We may also put it as progressive, something that is in progression, which describes an unfinished action, the action that is still going on. For example, Caroline is raising twins with Alaric Salzman. So Caroline is raising twins with Alaric Salzman. Is raising means at the time when I'm talking about it, she's doing that action. Means the action is still on. It is not complete. Third aspect based tense is perfect tense. Perfect tense describes a finished action. Perfect means we are done, we are complete with that. The action has been finished. So Damon has a close relation, a friendship with Bonnie. Has means the friendship that was emerging, that was evolving, is now not over, but now it is reached a ripened state. It is mature now. So that way the action is complete. The action of evolution of that friendship between the two is done, is over, and therefore these are maybe the best friends. And then the fourth kind of aspect based tense is perfect continuous, which describes an action which began in the past and is still continuing. Perfect and continuous. So perfect would mean that the action is complete. Continuous would mean that it is still on. Now these are two contradictory words that we've tried to put together, which would mean that the action that started in the past, but not going by the definition of perfect, it is not complete. Though it started in the past, but it is still on at the given point of time when you're talking about it. That is perfect continuous. Describes an action which began in the past and is still continuing. Matt has been planning to run for mayor. So that plan, the inception of that plan, it happened, it occurred in the past, and right now when I'm talking about it, that plan is still on. It is not when will it be completed? When I say that yes, Matt is the mayor of Mystic Falls, then yes, I would say that there was an action that started in the past, and now when I'm talking about it, it is complete. So that there it will be a perfect tense, because this action started in the past but still not is complete. Therefore, I will put it as continuous. Combining the two, it will be some action that started in the past but did not get over there. It is still continuing in the time right now when I'm talking about it. So likewise, we have three tenses based on time frame and four tenses based on aspect. Joining these two categories together, we may very conveniently put it as that we have 12 different tenses. How are we making and deriving these 12 tenses? Let's go ahead to find out. So now, tenses may be classified into 12 different forms. What are these different forms? These are derived from the time frame combined with the aspect. For example, with respect to time, we have present tense, past tense, and future tense. Now, adding the aspect to each and every tense, what we'll have is, we'll have present indefinite, present continuous, present perfect, and present perfect continuous. Similarly, we'll have past indefinite, past continuous, past perfect, and past perfect continuous. Likewise, for future also, future indefinite, future continuous, future perfect, and future perfect continuous. Now, for indefinite, we may also call these tenses as simple. Simple present, simple past, and simple future. And for continuous, we may also call it as progressive. So, present progressive, past progressive, future progressive. And likewise for the future present perfect continuous, that continuous word can be replaced with progressive, meaning would be the same. So because of this kind of combining the time frame and the aspect formation, we have now 12 tenses. Now we'll try to learn the rules. Rules would be common for both the voice, that is active voice and passive voice, but just to make it simple, I have divided these two, the rules for both the voices, right? So here active voice would mean that we are giving more preference and importance to the subject, therefore the subject will find its placement at the starting position of the sentence, followed by the action and then the object. So whenever we are having any active voice, it will be first the subject, the doer of the action, followed by the action that the subject is performing, and then at the last we'll have the object. Now having an object in the sentence is not something that is compulsory. We may or may not have an object in the sentence. Depending upon the presence or the absence of object, we will define the verb, the action, as transitive or intransitive, as we've already discussed this during the main verbs. The main verbs based on the presence or absence of object. So here for the active voice, the rules would be that first we will be placing the subject, then the action. Now this action that we're talking of will now be put in three forms of verbs: first form, second form, and the third form. Let's see how are we using the forms of verbs into tenses and which form of verb is used in which kind of tense of the 12 tense that we've just tried to understand. Okay, for the present simple, we'll be having first the subject, then the first form of verb, and then that first form of verb, depending upon whether the subject is singular or plural, we may have s or es added to it if it is singular, the subject. If the subject is plural, then we would not have that s or es formation. This s or es would only be there if you have a subject that is singular. Similarly, for the present continuous, because I'm talking of an action that is still on in the time that I'm talking about it right now, therefore I'll be using the words like is, am, are, and then the first form of verb will be followed by the ing. So subject plus is, are, am plus the first form of verb plus ing. For example, suppose I say that my subject is I, and suppose my verb is like and object is biryani. So I, for the present simple, it will be I love biryani. They love biryani, or like either way around, and he likes biryani, right? So whenever I'm putting it as he singular, it will be, the verb will be ending with s or es. So he likes biryani. Likewise for present continuous, it will be I am liking biryani. I am loving biryani. They are loving biryani. He is liking biryani. Then perfect. Perfect would mean that there was something, some action that started in the past and now it is over. Subject plus has or have plus the third form of verb. Now we are changing the form of verb here. Now for the first form of verb, now we have switched to the third form. So the perfect tense, be that of any kind of time frame based tense, present, past or future, for perfect we will always be using the words like has and have to show that yes, we are talking of some action that has been done, that is complete. So subject plus has or have plus the third form. I have loved biryani since my childhood, right? They have loved biryani. Then we have perfect continuous, subject plus has have because it has a perfect element. Continuous, therefore it will be the first form of verb ending with ing. I have been loving biryani since I was 2 years of age, suppose. So have been loving. It started, the action that I'm talking about is started in the past when I was 2. And right now when I'm talking about it, the action is still on. It is not complete. I still like it. Therefore, it is something that started in the past and still when I'm talking about it is on. Similarly, for the past tense, past simple will have subject plus the second form of verb. Now, you may notice here that we have used the most of the times the form of verb that has been used here for tenses is the first form. We have only for the perfect we have the third form, and the second form of verb will only be used with past simple and nowhere else. So with respect to the verb forms, we will only be using the second form of verb with past simple and nowhere else. So subject plus second form of verb plus object. I have not mentioned object here because, as I said, the presence or absence of object, it is at your discretion. If you wish to add an object, it is okay. If you don't wish to have an object in the sentence, then also it should be fine, because in that case your verb, the action, will be put as under the category of intransitive verb, but still it will be called as an action, it will be called as a verb. So present simple, past simple would be subject plus second form of verb. I liked biryani. Now, why am I putting it as simple? Because I'm not telling you as to whether that action is complete or is still on or what. I'm not giving you that kind of clarity. Indefinite. I liked biryani. When did I like it? 2 years back, 5 years back. When? So I liked biryani. It is not telling you the exact time of completion. Therefore, such kind of sentences are termed as simple sentences because I'm putting the second form, therefore the past simple. Then past continuous. That means sometime in past when I'm talking right now, if I'm talking about a certain action, then the time at which the action was on, I am pointing out at that time. So subject was a verb, first form of verb plus ing to show that it is in continuation. It is in continuous formation or progressive formation. So I was liking biryani. I was relishing biryani till the time my pet dog came and started eating from my very plate. Till that time, I was eating alone, till the time my dog had not come and started eating from the very same plate that I was eating from. Till that time, yes, I was relishing it. But the moment it started eating from my plate, yes, then I stopped liking it. I stopped relishing it. So it could be put in that sense also. So subject was a verb, first form of verb. They were liking biryani, but when but when korma was served, they did not even eat it. They started eating korma only. So that is how also you can have the usage of the words like was or were, like we used is, are, am for present. We will use the words like was or were to have that ing formation in order to aid or help that ing formation. And because these words like is, are, am, was, were, will, shall, these are assisting the verb during the formation of the sentence. Therefore, that is why these particular words are termed as helping verbs, if you remember from the lecture based on verbs. And then past perfect, there was some action that started in the past and it is over. So we are telling about the completion also. Subject had third form. So I had loved biryani. I had loved biryani. Right now I don't love it. I had means the action started in the past and it is over in the past only. It does not exist in the present. Perfect continuous, it started in the past and right now also when I'm talking about it, it is on. Subject had been, first form of verb, and ing. So I had been loving biryani. I had been loving biryani would mean I had been loving biryani ever since I was 2 years of age. So that point in time I started loving it and I'm still loving it, right? Future subject, and whenever we are using the future, it will be always that we use the word will or shall, and here we will never be using the s or es formation. We'll never be using the singular form of verbs. Be or subject be a singular verb, but the moment we are adding the word will or shall, they will always be using a verb that is plural and never singular. If I say he will like biryani, so it will be like and not likes. If I remove the word will, he likes biryani. If I add the word will, it will be he will like biryani. So with will and shall, we will never be using the singular formation of verb, any form of verb. So subject will or shall, first form. Subject will or shall be, first form of verb plus ing will be future continuous. She will be loving or liking or relishing biryani. If you've put in a lot of effort while preparing it, you've given your biryani a very exotic and assorted kind of a taste of a lot of spices. In that case, yes, you may put it as she will be liking, because you've put in a lot of effort, so you feel that this will be to her taste. Her means any person that we're talking of. Perfect future. Subject will shall have, third form. So subject, I will have loved biryani. She will have loved biryani. Perfect continuous. Subject will shall have been, an ing form of verb, first form. So she will have been loving biryani. Right? So this will be the way in which we'll be using the tenses, especially for the active voice. Let us have a look at few more examples for a better understanding of rules based on active voice. So, Klaus likes Caroline. Klaus, again, these are all the characters, the proper nouns that you're reading or that you're listening to in this particular slide, wherein I'm talking of the different tenses based on time frame and combining the time framed tenses with the tense based on aspect. All the characters that you see here, they've been derived from the series Vampire Diaries. So Klaus likes Caroline. Klaus likes. Now, Klaus is one singular entity, therefore the verb that I'm using with that particular the action that I'm quoting here will be treated as a singular action. Therefore, I have added that S to the word like. Klaus likes Caroline. Klaus is building an army of new hybrids. That means that point in time that I'm talking about it, that action of creating an army, that time, that particular action is still on when I'm talking about it. So Klaus is building an army of new hybrids. Stefan has killed Enzo. So has killed. The action started. Why started? Because it would have been in a certain. It would have been a process. The person would have visited somebody, and then there would have been a fight, or maybe some kind of uh, action would have taken place, if not a fight, and then the action would have been complete, because there was a certain process that was there. Therefore we can say that yes, the action started in the past, and it right now when I'm talking about it, it is over. Stefan has killed Enzo. And perfect continuous, Enzo has been watching over Bonnie in the afterlife in season 8 of Vampire Diaries. So has been watching means that the time I'm talking, the action started in the past, and right now when I'm talking about it, the action is still on. Similarly, for the past simple, Vicky Donovan turned into a vampire. Turned into a vampire. So turned means I'm not telling you the exact time, and neither am I telling you as to whether the action is complete and what time did it complete. It is just a random statement which says that there is some character Vicky and she got turned into a vampire. Alaric was turning into a human again. So Alaric, yet another character from the series, so was turning into a human again means the time that I'm talking about it, that action was on. And then Klaus had moved to New Orleans. The action started and now is over. Now I'm talking about it, the action is over. So Klaus had moved to New Orleans. Matt had been protecting Mystic Falls from vampires. Had been protecting. He had been doing it. The action started in the past and it continued on the time that I'm talking about it, that point in time, it was still on, but it is all in past. Caroline will raise the twins with Alaric. Caroline will. Now, the action is yet to take place. Enzo will be resurrecting in season 8, having talked about Enzo's death in the perfect present tense, that there was somebody called as Stefan and he killed Enzo. Now, because it is a kind of series wherein you keep seeing people dying and then getting resurrected and dying again, sleeping for ages, and the age of any particular individual who's a vampire or a werewolf is in thousands or hundreds of years. So it's kind of that is why we're putting it as Enzo will be resurrecting in reason. He's already dead, and from his death he'll be resurrecting. Will be means we're talking of some action that will be on in future, that will be continuing in future. Stefan will have established a boarding school for supernatural teens by the end of the series. So will have established. We are talking of an action that will be complete, that would start in the past and will be complete when I am talking about it. By the end of the series, when the series ends, that point in time, the action that would have started in the past would be over. Therefore, future perfect. We are talking of completion of a certain thing. Perfect continuous. Elena will have been sleeping for 60 years before her deep sleep curse breaks. So Elena, yet another character, will have been sleeping. Will have been. So will will tell you that it's a future. Have will tell you that it is past. Sleeping, ing formation of V1 verb, that is the first form of verb sleep, tells you that it is still on. So will have been sleeping, the time that I'm talking. What is the time that I'm talking about? The time at which her curse breaks. So at that time when the curse breaks, that till that particular time she will have been sleeping. Action started and still on. So likewise we will be defining different tenses based on active voice. Now let us have a look at the very same rules when it comes to the passive voice sentences. Now passive voice will be that the objects are given more importance, therefore the placement of the object is at the initial part of the sentence and subject is then put at the very end. So here for all the kind of 12 tenses that we have, let us try and find out whether is a passive voice formation of all the tenses possible, and for whichever type of tense it is possible, how will we make a sentence. Present simple will be object plus the helping verbs is are am plus the third form of verb. Now we'll have to notice here that whenever we are talking of present passive voice, be that particular sentence of passive voice in any of the tense, any of the 12 tenses, you will always be using the third form of verb. No other form of verb has any room while you're making a sentence in a passive voice. So that is something that you need to notice. If you go back to the previous to previous slide, you will be able to see that we are using all three verbs when it comes to passive voice. Most of the time we're using V1, that is first form of verb. Once we are using the second form with past simple, and thrice we are using the third form with the perfect formation of tenses. But here all the kind of verbs that we're using are third formation verbs. So object is our am and three is this the third form of verb. For example, taking the same example, I like biryani. So biryani is liked by me. So whenever we have a passive voice, it will be object plus action plus by plus subject. So biryani is liked, third form of verb, like, liked, liked. So biryani is liked by me. Even if you don't add that by me here, because again that subject is not given any importance or much of importance, you can only make a sentence which is biryani is liked by somebody. Yes, you can ignore that by element. Likewise, object is our am being the third form. Biryani is being liked by them. Third, present perfect. Object plus has or have plus been plus third form. He has been liked by him, by her. Biryani has been liked by them. So we're talking of an action that started, somebody would have started eating it and at some point in time in the past, and right now when I'm talking about it, the action is over, has. It is the present formation. And then we do not have any form of continuous, perfect continuous with the passive. Perfect continuous does not exist for the passive voice for any of the tenses that we have. Object plus was. Now the helping verb could be was or were. So object was or were plus the third form will be the simple. Biryani was liked by them. Object plus was or were plus being plus V3. That means biryani was being liked. The point in time when they were eating, that point in time they were liking it. Object plus had been the third form. Biryani had been liked by them. Similarly, for the simple future, we will have object plus will or shall plus be plus V3. Biryani shall be liked by us. Shall be liked. Again, we will not have any future continuous tense for passive voice. So there are four tenses for which you will not have any passive voice for the tense which is future continuous, and all the three tenses perfect continuous tenses based on the perfect continuous aspect of the time, right? And then we have object plus will or shall have plus being plus V3. So it will be biryani will have been liked by us. Therefore, we say that there is a lot of difference when you're making the sentences in active voice and passive voice, because you're changing the formation of sentence along with changing the form of verb, the action that you're quoting. Therefore, you'll have to put a lot of attention to this slide in comparison with the previous to previous slide. Only when you have a comparison drawn in your mind, you'll be able to make sentences in both the voice using the tenses that the voice exists in. Now let us take the same examples for passive voice also, so that it becomes easier for you to compare. Present simple, Caroline is liked by Klaus. We said that Klaus likes Caroline. Now Caroline is liked by Klaus. Is liked. Third form of verb with the word is, which is representing the present formation. An army of new vibrates is being built by Klaus. Enzo has been killed by Stefan. So here all the things that we're putting will be having a passive formation wherein the object has more role to play, therefore has been placed at the initial part, and the subject, the performer, the doer of the action has been given the last position. Vicky Donovan was turned into a vampire. By whom? I'm not telling you. When did it happen? I'm not telling you. Is it over? I am again not telling you. Therefore, the simple, indefinite. Then Alaric was being turned into a human. Klaus had been moved. When I'm talking about it, he had been moved. Now, if you think about this sentence, it could be that meaning could come out as that there was some other external force. For example, here it was Catherine. So Klaus had been moved to New Orleans by Catherine. That is how. Future, the twins shall be raised by Caroline, and by the end of the series, a boarding school for supernatural teens shall have been established. Shall have been established by Stefan. So this is how we will be using different tenses based on time frame and aspect for the passive voice. Okay, so we'll give tenses a break here. We'll continue with the types of tenses in detail as to in what situation, circumstance will we be using which type of tense. That all will be discussed in the lecture that follows. And with this, I guess I have done justice to your expectations, and to the people who don't like tenses, this particular GIF that you are seeing here, I hope this is not the reaction that you're giving at the end of this lecture. Thank you so much for watching. Happy learning to you people, and do not be afraid of tenses, because it is yet another topic, and that this too shall pass. Thank you so much.